Well, how many of the remember
Welcome
the
to the
question.
post.
How many of your relatives were fish, and how many of them were how many of your ancestors were fish? Because you think you fish from slime, and that's bad somehow in some unrelated way. But wait, don't insult me. I'm not being insulted. I'm just how many relatives are fish?
How many transitions?
Unbelievably bad.
Insulting everyone, these huge blanket insults. Oh,
If you
well,
listen
since
quietly-
you're pretending to be subtle about it, well, that makes it not an insult.
In the
He's got
background,
a
if you
picture
listen
of a
really
mud
quiet,
skipper up now with
Yeah, I
aliens
know.
written across the top of it.
if
And
you
the
listen
camera
quietly,
cams on him.
sorry.
Well, see, it's too bad you get to talk about your work with sandgobbies and watch their eyes glaze over. It's like, she's talking science. Talk about information again.
Dude, I never even got a chance to bring up the Gullo gene. I'm so disappointed.
Well, the one thing that
I just want an answer to one question. It's like, tell me how this is a prediction for design. He called it a theory.
Yeah.
When you say theory, now you're going with the scientific definition. Then it has to have some predictive success. What are those predictions? Oh, well, junk DNA. Well, how's that a prediction for it? Well, because Jonathan Wells said, and he just kept going around it, and then I got booted for asking the very question that, trying to explain that he doesn't seem to understand what I'm talking about.
Well, the other thing he keeps on doing is he keeps on mentioning Peter Crane and saying, Peter Crane has said there are no transitional fossils. And it's like, well, Peter Crane, he's played this one clip of Peter Crane on his channel, and if you play it beyond that one clip, which actually cuts off mid-sentence, Peter Crane then goes on to say, but I fully expect them to all be found at some point. And if you go back before it, Peter Crane's actually an expert on flowers. And he's talking about transitional forms of flowers and how difficult it is for those things to fossilise. And it's just, Josh is just so and Josh must know this because he must have watched the video and he must have poured through it until he found the one bit that he could quote mine. And then
Yeah.
He's reading from a script in a book. It's probably his own book that what he wrote.
You know it's gotten bad when you're rooting for Matthew Bell.
Oh boy, yeah, I couldn't take it.
I mean, when it's one of those times where Bell's just pure dickishness is useful because he's turning against like MG42, like obviously you don't know anything about the subject matter, and you're just an asshole, and you're just ignorant of this stuff. I mean, normally he's pointing at people who aren't ignorant, but for once he's actually got it right.
I love the way he pronounces equilibrium as well.
Stop clock twice a day thing.
What did he say? He said it like equilibrium or something like that. Equilibrium.
And stasis.
Stasis.
Stasis got me.
I'm going to give you a little sneak preview of a part of the what they call the Christocrat. Oh, look, I can't say it. Can somebody say it for me?
Got raspberry disease.
Aristocrats. Okay, part of the Aristocrat show, with the little news section that I've made for this month, for this fortnight's one, does mention Matthew Bell, and it does say Matthew Bell played here by the Mekon from Dan Dare. That's my little introduction. Talks about how there's a fantastic clip of him going, trying to do his English accent, and it's a real disaster.
Universe.
It's like, oh, it's just so
Don't
funny.
forget the column.
When you're talking about the column,
Not just the accent, it's like its delivery is just so overly deliberate.
It's Polish. I'm sure it's.
Like he's outlining
Bella's
every
left.
single word to make sure it's as clear as possible over the microphone.
The column.
By the way,
The column.
Beck Keane said that Phony Beatlemaniac's microphone was breaking up, and it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
He did that quite a few times during the discussions to shut people up.
You know,
Oh, can't hear you. Oh, your microphone's not
It's
working.
going to be a picture of Brett's face. The entire broadcast doesn't know how to click off
Oh,
it, so the entire broadcast is just a
It's
picture
a
of
mud
Brett.
skipper now. It's a mud skipper now with the word atheist above it. That's all you see. You're not seeing you don't know who's speaking.
Yeah, it was like that all the way through.
Identify the voices and like, well, you can MG42 just like someone's being a complete asshole who has no idea. Well, it must be MG42. Well, wait, that could be any of them. So I really have no idea who's talking at this point.
Yeah. Who's left on it now?
Nonsense.
Matthew Bell's gone.
Right. Has he been kicked?
Yeah.
Not sure.
is Gary still on there?
No, he's gone.
We should ask Gary if he wants to come in.
Yeah, it looks like the only one left. We got Nadia. Actually, no, I think Gary might still be on there. He has that picture of "So you're an atheist, huh?" thing.
Oh, it is. He just come back in. Gary's just gone back in.
Who's the guy with the Thor picture? That's Alex.
Art.
No,
Art, yeah.
Art, yeah. He had two scientists, and I'm at least reasonably literate on the subject matter, and now we're all gone, so now they're just laughing about how they're kings of the universe. Like, we totally... Richard is going on and on about, yeah, I totally disproved all this stuff. I answered the tough questions. You didn't answer one, you piece of shit.
Yeah, utter bag of garbage. I asked him, he just injects it in right in the first spiel, because it was amazing to me, because, like, Josh the entire time was saying, I don't want to dominate the conversation, and yet that's exactly what he did pretty consistently.
Oh, but I dared to interrupt him, though, you know.
Yeah, you did, and you got booted for it, you naughty boy.
I wasn't interrupting, I was correcting him, because he kept getting it wrong over and over again.
And he right at the beginning, he injected this thing about entropy and the third law of thermodynamics, or whatever law of thermodynamics, and I'm like, dude, no. Physics has nothing to do with biological evolution. And then he was like, oh, well, that's an interesting point. And I'm like, oh, so you refuted then, obviously. So you're accepting that, or you're not accepting it, or are we just changing the subject? Okay, fine.
I mean, of course we have to interrupt him because he's wrong in so many different ways, in so many individual parts. He's fractally wrong. Every part we attack, he breaks everything else. So he's like, please don't interrupt me. Let me get the first. I need a 20-minute, soliloquy. I need to just go on alone for 20 minutes. Otherwise, you guys will pick apart all this nonsense I'm saying. So.
And he told Lenny that his parents made him by copulating.
Oh yeah.
Oh, well,
Excruciating.
First of all, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody, for what's left of it.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I love when he said, like, Keen was like, we learned something when MG42 speaks. I'm like, oh God.
Enrique! Yay!
We learned something. This is what a retard sounds like.
I want to know how Brett Keane got into our circles.
I have no idea how that happened.
They found Richard
no one
Raspberry,
knows him,
basically.
and yet all of a sudden here he is popping up. He's been around for a long time, but he's been kicked out of both everybody else's circles.
I think Richie had invited him.
Well, it's interesting. He really didn't have anything interesting to say. Matthew Bell was right for once. It's so rare. I mean, he's right too many times in this chat, so it's clear something's wrong. But yeah, he's like, do you have anything to say, Brett? I can't do the accent. Do you have anything at all to say, Brett, about any subject matter? You asshole.
No,
I mean,
he never does.
And he's right. He had nothing interesting to say. He just came up and go, how many people are your fish? Let me talk about, I need a soundbite in here so people know that I'm actually in the chat. So let me say something stupid about abiogenesis. Like,
There were banjos in the background.
I just want to throw something out there. There's no way he's actually a Christian, right? I mean, he has to be full of shit.
Brett used to be an atheist.
Really, it's not that bad, but you never know. I mean, after Scott Terry, you just never know at this point. That is as extreme as you get. So obviously, I mean, MG42 is kind of a teddy bear compared to Scott Terry. So.
And you notice
at this point.
They always try and drag it back into religion when scientists are present. And as soon as scientists go away, they start yammering about science. And they come out with these doggerel, and it's a load of absolute garbage. I mean, it is complete and utter nonsense. Because they know that nobody's there to refute, and nobody's there to say, no, wait a minute, I know a wee bit about this.
Yeah, he's always like, well, Fiona, let me teach you about biology because, I have this book and you've only been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah.
That's why I say he's got to be a Poe.
Wasp on the moon.
Enrique pointed out to me that he's been working in functional genomics for over a decade. So he is well qualified to speak about encode and functional genetics.
They don't understand what those words mean,
But
Fiona.
they're not listening to anybody.
What is meaningful
They're listening
information?
to nobody.
What is meaningful information? He's like, well, let me give you examples. I'm thinking, we don't need examples. You need to actually define what the hell this means. You can't just, well, here's one example, and that's going to explain. No. Why don't you just explain your terms?
Yeah, well,
You can't explain it. You know the good one, though?
I'll go with an example.
Especially
The
subjective.
best one was when he said, is that meaningful chemistry?
What the fuck does that even mean?
I tried
Like,
to
he'll
make
ramble on. You're like, okay, that didn't actually answer anything, and you made up a whole bunch of words that aren't actually part of the scientific, literature. So,
How do you tell the difference between a meaningful hydrogen bond and a meaningless?
And you get all the chemicals mixed up.
yeah, like you thought of like the gum on your shoe thing, and he's like, that's not correct. I don't know why, but maybe if I ramble for 10 minutes, you'll forget that I didn't actually respond to that.
I'm trying to argue that DNA isn't more stable than RNA. That one got me as well.
They don't understand what they're saying, and it's so obvious.
No.
How did Brett
And
know your explanation?
I tried to make the point that meaningful was actually whether it's under positive selection or not. I tried to make that point, but
They were just like, no, you didn't answer the question. No, you didn't answer the question. You need to answer the question. Let me ask it again. You answer it. You didn't answer the question. It's like that interview that Richard Dawkins did with that woman from the...
Oh, yes, Wendy.
Everyone knows.
Yeah.
What's her name?
I think her name was Wendy.
Fossils. Just show me the fossils. Just show
Here are the fossils. Well, here are the fossils. Here's 1,000 of them. Here's every museum filled with them. Well, I don't see any fossils. Where are the fossils? I didn't bring them with me, you stupid bitch.
It's
I don't have a backpack.
packs with the microphone all over again.
They're in my car.
Just for the record,
Things that
Matthew,
Dawkins wanted to
Matthew
say.
Bell wants to join this hangout now, but someone has him blocked.
Not
Oh,
me.
I haven't blocked. I think everyone has it blocked.
I couldn't join theirs because I was blocked by some.
Yeah, I was blocked on about
I
5
was blocked
accounts.
when I first went in as well.
I couldn't troll the hangout, so I decided to troll the comments.
But to be honest,
I'm a troll.
No, Mark and Alex, you're both known trolls, and Alex, you have been stalking Josh. Apparently,
Apparently so,
persecuted him personally. You and Kat both. Persecution.
yeah,
Terrible man.
How have you been interfering with Josh's personal life? Because that's a claim he made.
what, me?
Yeah,
We-
you personally, Alex.
No, I haven't. Mark has.
Oh,
We admitted that to him in the last hangout that we were in, and he said you would. I said no. All I did was Googled your name. It came up with some information that
Oh,
was interesting, and I just copied it and sent the links to Alex, and we said that's interesting, and that's about as far as it went.
that's not an interference.
Oh,
that's
that's
just.
awful.
Yeah, it's public information. It was on Google.
You horrible, horrible man, you.
Dirty, dirty atheist.
Dirty, dirty,
Googled
dirty,
it.
nasty,
How
nasty,
dare
nasty,
you.
nasty.
Someone has just asked Richard Raspberry for evidence about something, and he said he's too tired.
I'm too tired now. It's time for a sleep.
Milk and
Let
biscuit.
Brett answer it.
Jade has just posted that she's going to go and watch G-Man's Hangout because it's slightly higher up the YouTube evolutionary scale.
Good Lord.
Wouldn't it be great? We could get like G-Man in there, and who are some like maybe get Roy in there and have them all talk about how actually they'd probably start eating each other. Like you're the wrong type of young Earth creationist. Let me explain why your doctrines are wrong.
Yeah.
If they were all in one room, you could understand why some people would run amok with an automatic weapon, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Every time I've talked with MG42, all he does is just assert things loudly. No evidence at all, not even an attempt. Just assert it as loud as you can and keep repeating it, and then say, it's in this book. I'm like, it's
And then apologize.
You found a book that says it, but that's for laymen. That's not the scientific understanding. That's just to give you, like, on the ground floor. You have to actually go to college for the rest of this shit, or actually spend time looking up the actual papers.
Do you remember when he was on? Do you remember when he was on the Bastard Cast and he was talking about Noah, and I kind of gave him a quick explanation about bottlenecking and all that kind of stuff, and he kind of went, yeah, that Noah movie. Why have they cast Russell Crowe? It should have been a black guy. It's like, what? What's he talking about? Yeah, he's a bit of a topic changer when things. But
I think is the word.
The one thing I did want to say about Josh Shelly is that I did notice that he was doing again what he did last time when me and Mark were on. Every time he was in a real awkward question, he'd kind of stop and go, "Oh, sorry, what was somebody's talking to me here? What? No,
Yes.
I don't understand what they're doing. No, wait a minute. Sorry, I missed that." It's like he does it every time to try and avoid answering questions. He's really transparent.
Or he started speaking about someone's connection or some other any
Of course,
discussion.
the final act is just to boot them out. Like, oh, well, you must be trolling then, because you asked me a question I can't answer, and that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, JT was about the 8th or 9th person booted.
Crazy.
I mean, seriously, they were just booting people.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
For
Keynes.
no apparent reason. Like, hey,
And there's Keynes
walk it up,
booting
we're
them.
gonna boot you. Like,
Because Josh keeps he keeps saying, "Hey, Josh, oh, so and so's turned up. Will I let them in?"
Yeah.
So
So he was running the. He seemed to be running the hangout. He seemed that Josh had given him producer rights in what do you call it, Pro Studio or something. So ridiculous.
oh,
thing to do.
fucking no! They've got Heather Ritz in there now. Remember her?
Oh no!
Gordon bloody Bennett,
Oh, it's gonna be.
complete Ritz cracker.
Who's Heather Ritz?
Oh, it's nothing but a loony show now.
She's one of those people who every other word is, I love science so much.
Guys,
It's
I've got
like,
to tell
it's
you
like
this.
watching it's a 2014 version of One Flew Over with the Cuckoo's Nest in it at the moment.
I just turned the sound up just from one moment on the other hangout and just heard somebody saying, "For all the layers, it's still just a drawing."
Pillbox is yelling on the top of his lungs.
It's difficult to tell because it's just
Kills
Brett
screens.
Dean. It's got the they've got
Don't have
focus the
any
whole time. so-
self-awareness at all. Like,
Nope.
wow, I'm fucking retarded. What's wrong with me? I should probably stop talking.
Guys, I'll
It
tell you
occurs
what.
to them, like, just come up with like, I don't have anything.
He's
to
the
do."
most live man on YouTube. Come on. He's the most live man on the net. He's the most
On the
live
net.
What is that
on the
even?
net, and he has a phone number. You can Brett Keane Hollywood. He's the most live man on that. Is that Hollywood's like the Virgin? Is that Hollywood, Arkansas?
There's a Hollywood in Florida. Could be
There's
that.
a Hollywood just outside Birmingham. Maybe he lives here.
He could very well do.
In a
He
tiny,
does have a
tiny
very
shack.
deep and sort of satisfying voice, though. I have to say, I can imagine that reading me a bedtime story.
Then, hey, I'm gonna totally block your ass if you don't stop doing what I want, Lenny.
No.
Hey, I was doing things that I'm not gonna say because they're illegal and Brett might come after me.
Oh God.
If you type
He's
in
done enough.
scumbag Brett Keane into Google, you'll find all about it, what I've done.
Is that quite?
It's very
They're
good.
making an absolute laughingstock of their own faith. Can't they see that?
I just jumped back and Heather hasn't even figured out how to unmute herself yet. So, that's a good start. How does this work? What's this red button do? Maybe I'll just stare at it really hard and God will push the button for me.
Yeah, Shay, I have to go now because I got my banjo lesson.
Yeah.
Oh,
So is that the person with the bad perm?
Alex, have you been to the God and Science group that Richard and Heather run?
What's
oh
that?
God.
God, they have a group on Facebook called God and Science. It is as bad as you'd expect. It's not the battlefield, but it's close. And yeah, it's just wall-to-wall nonsense. Like, here's something, I'm incredulous, therefore God. It's just wall-to-wall. It's like Sean Carroll said, I don't know how to refute an incredulous stare. And that's all they have is incredulous stares. It's like, yeah, I don't believe that. That doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't conform to my common sense. Must be nonsense.
Well, my big thing was I wanted to know what's the mechanism that the creator uses to create created things, because I know how silicon is made, or at least I can learn about it. And for me, I think the intelligent design theory, or hypothesis rather, would be a lot more believable if we had some information as to how created things are created by the creator, and maybe then we could create some things ourselves.
That's a lot of creating.
Could somebody
know it.
could somebody give me a link to Bell's Google Plus so I can unblock him? Because then we can maybe get him in, and then I've got a few choice things on
Hold on a
site.
minute.
So if you
You've
could
got
Oh,
put
to
the other
someone-
thing is, and is Jim around as well? Because Jim was in the debate for a bit.
Yeah, Jim. Wow, what a! I was
Jim-
so happy to be in a hangout with him.
I didn't see what happened with that.
Actually,
He was actually
Lino,
very, very
I
polite.
just follow up.
Well, they either
Me-
booted Gary or Gary left on his own accord. He's gone now.
Yeah, right, Matthew
Gary's
Bell.
when J-Man's hang out.
I don't see any non-creationist. Well, Art's still in there, but it looks like Richard's just going on another one of his 10-minute rants about nothing. So no one else is talking.
Alex, there's the link to
Yeah.
Matthew's
Oh,
thing.
you've got him.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, get him in. We can point and stare and laugh.
Look how
ask him.
No,
tests
I
like
actually
edit.
think no. I actually think that this is a time where we remember that tonight he's one
Yeah.
of us.
No, don't say no, not having that. You
St.
can't say
Patrick's
one of
Day
us.
2014,
The thing
Matthew
is-
Bell stood with us.
I can't forget the fact that he did call Nadia a man.
Yes.
Oh, dude, that's
So
so.
he went way beyond that. That was the mildest thing he said. He was on.
And he
a roll.
didn't know it was being recorded, did he?
Aggery.
But the thing is, he did. He faced them down.
Yeah.
He did. You know, and I mean, I tried to stay very, very polite because I wanted to stay in there as long as possible. But that was hard. That was hard.
Polite. I was as polite as I could be, and apparently just saying that, or I should say, noting that Alex has destroyed Raspberry in at least one debate was enough to warrant a ban.